We begin in New Zealand this morning, where the country is banning assault rifles and military-style semi-automatic weapons. The Prime Minister announced the ban earlier today. She said legislation will be introduced within a month. The move comes less than a week after a gunman used an assault rifle and a shotgun to kill 50 people in 2 mosques. Closer to home, the wife of the Montana Highway Patrol trooper ambushed near Missoula last Friday releases new details on his condition. Lindsay Palmer says her husband, 35-year-old Wade Palmer, was shot 3 times, once in the head, in the neck, and face. She describes his condition as extremely critical and is in a medically induced coma at a Utah hospital. She said due to the nature and extent of his injuries, it may be some time before they know more about his prognosis. She offered this statement through the Montana Highway Patrol, quote, "We remain cautiously optimistic that Wade will continue to see steady improvements. We recognize, however, that the overall understanding of these improvements and what they mean in the long run is still evolving and unknown at this time." Friends and family of the man killed in last week's initial attack in Missoula are still trying to process the loss of 28-year-old Shelley Hayes. As MTM's Jill Valley reports, he was a man who loved to laugh, loved his family, and was completely devoted to his little girl.
Shelley Hayes never passed up a chance for fun. He loved fast bikes, fast snowmobiles, fast trucks, and if they weren't fast enough, he could fix that. Always surrounded by friends, he was always up to make new ones.
He had this personality where he could make a friend at anybody. You know, if somebody was giving him that long stare, like not sure, I mean, he'd go over there just to, I guess, make the situation better. You know, he would create a conversation, and now all of a sudden, by the time it was over, he was just another friend. You know what I mean? He was always social like that.
Nick Kogar and Shelley had been friends since they were 7 years old, attending Hellgate Elementary School and later Big Sky High School.
Let me look here.
Nick says they were rarely apart back then.
That was one of our old shop pickups.
As a kid, Shelley won awards for barrel racing and roping competitions. It was a love of horses that he's passed on to his daughter, Chloe.
She came first with everything. It didn't matter. You know, he put in a lot of late hours to make sure he could give her everything that she needed, and you know, she was, how do you say that? He was wrapped around her finger, let's put it that way.
Shelley and his partner opened up Maxed Out Performance in Missoula. As a talented mechanic, the business grew. But Shelley never got too busy for what was really important to him.
His family was everything for him. He's always the first one when anybody needed help, including me.
Nick has a lot of pictures of the adventures he and Shelley shared. He remembers the laughter, the fun, and how Shelley could make the best of any situation. Shelley cast a wide net of friends and family around western Montana, many who feel blindsided by his death, as they remember their friend, who seemed to have it all figured out.
Anything to get out and socialize and have a good time, that's what he was about. It was just get out and go and turn every stranger into a friend. That's pretty much just his motto in life. That's all he wanted. It was just to make a name for himself. He wanted people to be proud of him, and he just wanted to be cared for and respected. That's all he wanted.
In Missoula, Jill Valley, MTN News.
And Jill tells us Shelley's family recently set up a new Facebook fundraiser for funeral costs and other expenses. And we're also learning more about the conditions of Casey and Julie Blanchard, the 2 other people in the truck with Shelley Hayes. According to Facebook fundraiser pages, the mother and son are recovering. Casey is hospitalized in Salt Lake City, was recently removed from a ventilator, and is already talking. Updates surrounding Julie say she was doing well, but is still in a lot of pain. Links to their fundraisers can be found on our website. Meanwhile, we now know more about what led to the death of a 14-year-old Busby girl who was found dead in December near Lame Deer. The Bighorn County coroner says Henny Scott died of hypothermia and had alcohol in her system. Coroner Terry Bullis also says the manner of Scott's death was accidental. In late December, Northern Cheyenne tribal leaders and the FBI was notified by family that Scott was missing. Just days later, a search party organized by the tribe went looking for Scott and found her body. In Wyoming, a federal judge has blocked drilling on more than 300,000 acres of land, ruling the Bureau of Land Management failed to consider the impact of climate change. The case was filed in 2016 by a pair of environmental conservation groups against the Obama administration. The Washington, D.C. judge ruled the BLM failed to take into account the impact of greenhouse gas emissions on the climate by oil and gas development and on federal land. The judge ordered further environmental review on the land, but did not cancel the leases. Montana could be an even bigger hotspot for movie making as the Montana legislature talks tax incentives for filmmakers. A new bill introduced by a Bozeman lawmaker proposes giving filmmakers a 25% tax incentive if they film movies in Montana. Montana is one of 10 states that don't offer credits. A Montana production company says high-profile films like A River Runs Through It bring in tourism and real estate dollars.
It was an incredible boom to a lot of businesses, and we still see it today, especially with all the fly shops and all the lifestyle that is out here, that people want to capture the romance that they saw in that movie.
And the proposal is moving along as it was sent to the floor last week. Here in Billings, a special and yet surprise delivery in a hospital parking lot. Q2's David J. brings the story behind a beautiful bundle of joy.
McKinley Michael was born at 8:20 Wednesday morning in a car parked at Billings Clinic.
My winter coat, we got that on her, and a hat, and as soon as we were able to cut the umbilical cord, they whisked her off and got her warmed up.
The Michaels left home about 8 o'clock, came to Billings Clinic, pulled into the parking lot and brought the car around to the pediatric center, where Cassie stayed in the car while Nathan went upstairs for help.
And I said I need a wheelchair, and about that minute my water broke, and he ran up the stairs to grab a wheelchair. Luckily he came down with a CNA because he heard me yelling for him and also heard a baby crying. So we had a little surprise in the car this morning.
I couldn't quite believe what I was hearing, but yeah, I made it to the car pretty quick.
The nurses responded with teams to take care of the baby and the mother.
I cut and clamped the cord, and our NICU staff was right behind us, which was perfect, and so they whisked the baby up to the NICU, and we took care of Mom.
The CNA was there, and you know, the nurses were very responsive for us.
Door wide open, pediatric unit could see all of us. They were applauding as we went up the elevator, and she had quite the entrance, that's for sure.
They were all cheering for her when she came in, which was pretty neat. It's just so wonderful when everybody's healthy and happy and it all works out. So it's exciting.
It doesn't even seem real to us right now. You know, this is something that happens in movies, not to us. Everyone's doing great. We just have a fun story to tell for her birthday now.
David J., MTN News, Billings.
And Nathan and Cassie also have a 4-year-old son. They expect to go home with McKinley today. Elsewhere, with a desire to attract a larger age base and bring in more science exhibits, the Wise Wonders Children's Museum in downtown Billings is on the move. To more than double its space, the museum will relocate just 2 blocks away into the old Good Earth Market Co-op. The former market is 9,000 square feet on just the main floor, while the current museum space is about 3,200. Executive Director Kelly Toohill says the museum will expand in 3 phases. Wise Wonders won't own the building. We are told a board member purchased the old Good Earth Market. Toohill says the move will likely happen by the end of the summer.